this idea to tout Tinubu as a hero, President Tinubu as a hero for removing subsidy, it's not working because we are still paying subsidies. Even some have argued, probably here at a lesser amount, but there's still subsidy on petrol. When you look at it, and that smuggling you're still talking about still goes on. Our neighboring countries are still tapping from our oil because we still have the cheapest, one of the cheapest oil compared to some other countries. Secondly, you talked about borrowing, sir. We are still borrowing heavily. Between the 6 months threshold or 7 months that he's been there, he spent 7.9 trillion. 7.3 trillion that he's now going to, the National Assembly to help him securitize for ways and means. That's money printed. So we are still borrowing heavily. And in fact, he just put another loan request of over 7 billion, another 100 million euros. So all the things we so-called claim that he has done, they have not worked. That's the argument a lot of people put, that he didn't think through before removing subsidy. And my last question would be, if you are to rate President Tinubu's administration in 7 months, what score would you give it over 10?
I won't come out into public and start rating. You see, you rate based on facts and figures. What you have raised, for example, the issue of still borrowing. When the treasury is empty, when the previous administration was borrowing to pay salary, and you got in, the whole place is empty. What else can you do other than, in the meantime, starting for now, you have to borrow to fill the gap. That does not mean that the culture of borrowing will go on forever and ever. It's only 7 months in office now. So that's my first reaction. You've met an empty treasury. There was nowhere to turn to other than to still engage in a little bit of borrowing. But after the first year in office, the whole thing will be reviewed and we'll see our way through. So talking of still borrowing, when your pocket is empty, you have to go to your bank to show you up for some time. It depends on how you now manage that situation. And then when you said there was no subsidy, how come, if there was no subsidy, as many people claim, how come that at the time that petroleum was selling, at the rate it was selling, in other neighboring countries, the prices were different? How come that if the subsidy has no effect, why were people demonstrating in Cameroon if they are not feeling the pinch of cheap oil coming from Nigeria? How come that people in Niger, where there's like Southwest, the border between us and the Republic of Benin is just walking across. If you get to Ilara, or you get to Ketu, or you get to many of the border with Ogun State, you walk across, in the market in Ilara is half of Benin. So how come that people in our neighboring country were demonstrating and shouting if there was no subsidy, if they are not feeling the effect of subsidy, which we were subsidizing them? Even if you say there's no subsidy, at least we were subsidizing our neighbors.
But we're still paying the subsidy today. That's the challenge. If you look at it, international crude oil price, once they increased, Nigeria's own petrol price has remained constant. So the question is, we say we remove subsidy, but we are still paying the subsidy today. And you are comparing this administration with Buhari administration, which we know was another wasteful one. But the truth is, in about 6-7 months, we have gotten about 7.3 trillion in ways and means. Buhari's 8 years, what we were talking about was about 23 trillion in ways and means. In 7 months of Tinubu's administration, over 7 trillion compared to 22 trillion in 8 years. That's abysmal. So people are saying that the borrowing in this administration is unbelievable.
I have explained to you that we are lucky. By 1st of June, the whole system had been set up to totally collapse. That's what I'm telling you. If we didn't go the way the government had to go, okay, take for example, let me give you one thing I discussed with him on Christmas Day. I can reveal that. In the issue of foreign exchange, do you know that we Nigerians are also not helping. The amount of money out of the system, me as a grassroots person, as a journalist, and you know my area is investigative journalism, even ordinary drivers, ordinary vulcanizer, they are changing their little naira to 50 naira, 50, they'll keep the $20 at home, $50 at home. You see, the confidence that everybody lost before Tinubu came in spilled over into his administration. I've had to tell him, I said, look, Mr. President, can you do something? The amount of money out of the system is enormous. What can you do to encourage people? I even told him, go as far as saying, well, look, ICPC, EFCC, stop querying source of fund. Let them bring all this money that they are high. Even the scarcity of naira. I told him, I said, some people are keeping, even the new naira note that was supposed to be in circulation, some people are keeping it, and they are selling it at event center, party centers. We Nigerians ourselves need to change our culture.
Hello, Aisha. From the last election, what have we learned as Labour or Nigerians who want a better country? Hoping the Labour team has digested all reports from EU, INEC and court reports, because from this report we have to plan for the next election. As in Nigeria, we have to plan solutions to counter rigging plans. And I did promise I was going to do a video to answer this question, which is a great question really. And it's always, what have we learned as citizens we need to look at. And I'll just put out some of the things that we've learned with from my own view that we've learned from the 2023 election. The number one thing is the power of the people. Wow, the power of the people, it's amazing. And we've demonstrated that when citizens come together to work on a project, common vision, shared values on an issue, they can achieve amazing things. The 2023 election, citizens were basically mocked, told that they can't do anything, but yet they were able to come together. And this is what we need to do. And that's the reason why we need to let go of any of things that differentiate us, that divide us, and focus on the problems that unite us and solve those problems. When we do that, we get better. Another thing for me that I think I've learned from the 2023 election is the power of party politics, and how the internal democracy of a party affects the candidates that come out, and also affects election at the end of the day. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, we don't have independent candidacy, and so we have to go through parties. And it then makes it that it's very important for citizens to, to join parties. Don't just stay on the outside, because at the end of the day, it is who the parties end up bringing out as their candidate that you are now forced to vote for. So it's very important. And what we see most times in these parties is that most of these parties, there are a lot of people who really don't have any job. I did a video the other day on this, and you can check out the other videos in that list of politics in Nigeria. So I do series of videos talking about politics in Nigeria. And so we have a lot of people who don't have business other than politics. They don't have a source of livelihood other than politics. So they are not there for the greater good. They are not there for the nation. They are not there for what's going to be for the betterment of the nation. They are there for their individual selves. And so it's very important for us to be able to get also people into politics who have second jobs, and who the small monies that is going to be paid, whatever, to influence them, they are not there to accept such that they will not be influenced. So it's very important for citizens to actually join parties, and help strengthen the internal democracies of parties and all of that. Another thing for me also that I learned was the crucial role of agents, and the fact that we need to have people at every polling unit that are going to be there and to work, not depending on the party. And I'm saying this with all sense of responsibility, not at all. As Nigerians, honestly, moving forward in the election from the 2027, before the 2027 election, a lot of elections are going to come up. We need to have a a system. We need to have a database of people who are ready to work as agents, who are ready to be agents in all the polling units. That way we have people with credibility, people who will not be swayed, people who will not be money will not be used on them or anything, and will go in there, do their agency work, and will get the result back. So that this will also help even with the judiciary proceedings. We've seen the kind of rascality that judges have displayed in the whole of the election petition that went on, and how they are more in support of the riggers and angry at the people who actually come to court to come and say that elections haven't been done well. So there's a need for us to also plan that, be able to have a pool, at least 1 million citizens, a database of 1 million citizens that can stand as a polling unit agents. Let's say, for example, you have 5 to 10 people at every polling unit agents. We need to have that. We need to also lock down. Another thing also, another lesson is the role of money, how expensive election is. Election is extremely expensive, and monies are used, a whole lot of monies. We need to get to a place whereby money will no longer be a reason why somebody is running or not running for office. We must get to a place whereby we have a common pot where we are putting it monies every day, even if it means something like 1,000 naira every month. For example, if we have 1 million people who are donating 1,000 naira every month, that's 1 billion naira every month. In a year, that will be 12 billion naira. In 4 years, that's going to be 48 billion naira. With 48 billion naira, citizens can determine the kind of people that are going to run for office. Credible people that know they are not going to steal money. They are just going to work, and they're not going to put their own family resources in danger for them to run for office and get there. Because if somebody is spending up to 5 to 10 billion naira. For example, I saw a lot of people who were like, "Oh, Aisha, run for office, run to be a State." I say, I don't have money to run for to go and be running for office. I can't put my family resources in danger. If I run from office and spend 5 to 10 billion naira, I'll have to go there. I will tell you people, I need to get my money back. Oh. Where am I going to get it from? How am I spending that amount of money to go and serve? No, I'm not going to spend that amount of money to go and serve. And so right now, we've not gotten to a place where citizens understand that they are supposed to donate to candidates, not expect that candidates to bring their own money. Yes, there were a lot of donations that happened in the 2023 election, and people did put in their money to do a lot of things, but it involves a lot more. And I tell you one thing, Peter Obi wasn't a billionaire and he didn't bring his billions, we wouldn't have gotten anywhere. How many people have billions to go and bring that? And I can't bring out my billions just to go and serve people. Personally, I'm not. For what now? And so we need to get to a place where actually we have like a pool where we're putting monies together, and then use it to be able to get people, credible people into office. You don't even have to give them this money so that people don't just come and run just because they think they can get some money. Buy the resources for them, buy the campaign materials for them, buy the airtime for them, logistics and all the other things. Pay the bills, not necessarily give the people money. And you must have a team that will judiciously check every kobo that is being spent. So that's one thing. Also that we have to be very mindful of. What we have right now is that a lot of people who steal our commonwealth, what they do is that they use that commonwealth that they have stolen to perpetuate themselves in office and perpetuate their stooges in office. So people will steal billions and billions and billions and trillions. The next thing, they are running to be governor, and then you can't do anything to them because they have some kind of immunity. And then we also see what violence, the way, and that's what the question that he did ask, what are we doing to mitigate violence? This is something that we really have to consider. How do we make it possible that the people who buy violence, who instigate violence, who get people to go and start killing, maiming people, they do not have a pool that they can go to and get this violence for free? How are we going to get people that will say no to this violence? These are things that we need to work on. How do we ensure that, people refuse to allow themselves to be used to perpetrate violence? These are things that are very critical, and we all have to, work on these things. So the next thing also is on the issue of uh, tribalism and religion. We've seen how religious sentiments, we've seen how tribal sentiments were whipped up during the 2023 election. And for me, one of the biggest eye opener was a region that I thought was above these sentiments, especially when it came to religious sentiment. We thought, oh, they're so ahead, they're so developed, they don't do all of these religious sentiments, religious division. They just do their thing. Only for me to find out that their own this thing wasn't religion, but rather it was tribal. And at the end of the day, I think we need to help people understand that message of saying how, let people understand that message of, look, it doesn't matter whether it's your own religious it doesn't matter. Let me put it this way: it doesn't matter whether it's the person you share the same religion with, that is there, or the person you speak the same language, or that looks like you. At the end of the day, what matters is good governance, accountability, and transparency. And that if the person is not doing the right thing, even you that you are sharing the same religion, the same tribe, the same whatever, you're going to suffer the consequences of not doing the right thing. So these are also messages that we need to do to go. One also thing, very big point for me that we've learned from the 2023 election is the judiciary, the effect of the judiciary, and how corrupt our judicial system is, and how politicians have really not only corrupted the judiciary, they have also bought it over. They own it, they control it, they are disdainful of it, they brag about it, how they ensure that they buy justice. So justice is for sale, it's out there for whoever it is that is going to buy. These are some of the things also that we need to find a way of mitigating. Unfortunately, with the kind of life we have in Nigeria, where for you to have a decent life, you need to have a lot of money. And that's why when there's no development, if for example there's development, there's access to a lot of things, people don't need much money for them to have a decent life. So even if you are a judge with your small salary, you can you can have a good life and all of that. But now everything has been so messed up that you need a lot of money. So with their salaries, they can't give their children good quality education. So what we now have is that politicians don't mind. They put them on maybe extra payroll. They pay their children school fees, put them in good schools and all of that. Then these people become indebted to them. And at the end of the day, when they get into position, either as high whatever judges, or they get into appeal court or whatever, then these people begin to control them and get favors from them. We need to mitigate that. These are some of the things that we need to work on. The other thing also, and I think that's the final thing I'm going to talk about on this, is the media. How media coverage, it should not be left in the hand of the conventional media. Like Chidi always says, that media, social media democratize media. So that means media is in the hands of a lot of people. It's accessible to a lot of people. So it's very important for people to begin also to talk about the things, their candidates, and put their candidates out there, not just to leave it in the hands of conventional media, where they can decide to put out certain narratives or give certain media black and white. That citizens and media, it's very important for citizens to also control the media space and the media narrative and the things that are out there. But finally, as I end this video, I'm going to say that for me, the 2023 election is such an amazing thing. I don't look at it from the point of view the way a lot of people look at it, where people are so sad. I'm so happy, I'm so glad, I'm so elated. And you ask me why? Because the place where Nigerians go to, where they realize that they can actually make a difference, they can come together, they can be behind a candidate. It doesn't have to be the two major candidates. They can be behind a candidate and get that person, to keep going. I thought we will not reach there in the next 10 years. And surprisingly, by 2022, we were there. 2018, when we were out doing the red card movement, telling people that, look, you don't have to vote for a party. Let's vote for candidates instead of parties. Let's get good candidates and stand behind them. But many people thought we were crazy. They thought it wouldn't happen. But by 2022, that's exactly what happened. So that's such a leap for me. So yes, there has been, there was a hiccup. Yes, the election was rigged. Yes, the people's mandate was stolen. But that's not a reason for people to give up. That's a reason for us to keep fighting and keep going. So thank you so much